Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the Training Ground Podcast with your host, Kevin Barry. In episode 17 of the Training Ground Podcast, Kevin is speaking with Mikie Rowe. Mikie is a professional soccer player with Galway United who plays in the League of Ireland First Division. Mikie is also a soccer recruitment specialist and helps place soccer players at universities across America. In this episode, they discuss the differences between American and Irish universities and colleges, Mikie's experience playing after college in the U.S., his return to Ireland and transition to Galway United, why he decided to get into the soccer recruitment world, and some considerations and questions to ask college soccer coaches prior to committing to a university. Mikie will also be giving other tips for youth players wanting to go play college soccer in America.
Appreciate you coming on. Can you tell us how you first got involved in youth football? I remember seeing your name when you were playing with Waterford United at the time in the League of Ireland, but what were your steps up to that?
So I grew up in just outside a village called Campoil in Wexford. Would have started playing there when I was, 4 or 5, and my parents were always big into sport. I came from a sporting family, so I suppose it was just natural, and then just took to it like a duck to water, really, and really enjoyed it the whole way up. So I actually stayed with Campbell United until I was 17, turning 18, and that's when I made the move to Waterford. So the whole way up I was just really playing with my friends in Campbell, and that's exactly what I wanted to do at the time, and something I'd recommend to a lot of kids, because I think there's so much pressure on lads these days to move to academies when they're 14, 15 years old, be it in the League of Ireland or move across. And I think you just need to let kids enjoy it, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Glad that's the path I took. And as you said, I moved to Waterford in 2014, and that's where I ended up at that point.
Yeah, it's actually not unusual for a lot of teams to have, or a lot of kids to have 4 or 5 different clubs now before they're 16. It seems to be a trend almost, but like yourself, I had only 1 or 2 clubs growing up as well. So when you did play for Waterford, when was kind of the first big picture thought in your head that, maybe not that things weren't working out for you, but that you were looking for another option as far as going to America for college and playing at the same time?
So when I went into Waterford, circumstances had it that there was a lot of first team players leaving at the time. So a lot of younger lads were playing lots of first team games, and during the under-19 season that I was playing at Waterford, I was playing first team as well, and that was between 2014 2015, and then the starts and the appearances started to dry up a little for me as the 19 season came to an end. So then you're kind of stuck in that place where you're not really playing football, because you're stuck in that gap between 19s and first team football. And ideally I would have had a 21s league or a 23 league to go in and play, but that's not the case here at the minute. So I needed something to almost resurrect those pro dreams I had, and America was the perfect option for that. It was something I had never even thought of doing. I was a massive home bird, so it was something I didn't even consider. England was all that was on my mind up to the age of 18 or 19, and then if you're not playing regularly in the League of Ireland, England is a very tough place to get to. So that's, I suppose, it was really one last crack at the whip for me to try something different, and almost a backdoor into pro football, which it turned out to be.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think similar story to Paddy Fitzgerald, who was on a couple of months back. He was with Watford maybe a year or two after you were. So when you were looking at America, there's a lot of different factors that go into where you did end up. What were some things that you initially looked at, as far as were you looking at some things online, or looking out the people that have made the trip before you, things like that?
To be completely honest, Kevin, I didn't look at anything. Not one thing. I had no idea where I was going. This was in like April or May, and it was actually Paddy Fitzgerald who you spoke of. He was going over, and we were playing together at Waterford at the time, and Ross Fitzpatrick as well. And it was just a scholarship consultant that had come to watch them play. Seeing me and asked me did I want to go, and I had to make a really quick decision. I think I only had 2 or 3 days because the offer was there and I needed to take it or leave it. And I took it. And, I will say the coach that I had in college was excellent in terms of explaining everything to me. But, I had absolutely no knowledge or
Yeah.
anything of what I was getting myself into, to be completely honest. And so I suppose that's, why I've gotten involved in consulting myself, is to, have a personal relationship with players that are going over and really prepare them for what's ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. So is it safe to say then when you did go over, you were mostly for the football and maybe school was secondary, or what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. I wouldn't even put school secondary at the start, to be honest. It wasn't even really a factor for me. I went over to play football and that was it. And you soon realize how important the academic side of things are, because one, you're going to get a college degree, which is, invaluable after you finish playing football. And two, if you don't take care of your academics over there, football is not even going to be a possibility, because, you're not going to be able to play, or you potentially lose scholarship. So for the first probably 6 months, I really took it easy on the academic side and it was all football. But, once I found that balance, I never looked back. And it's just a piece of advice I can give to players going over now, because you don't want to get behind on academics. That's the last thing you need to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of money at stake as well. In that, what was your actual transition like as far as playing goes from first team or under 19s in League of Ireland to college soccer? Was it comparable, a little bit less, or even the duration of the season, only playing 2.5, 3 months of the year? How was that transition for you?
Yeah, it was a strange one, I suppose, because I wasn't sure what to expect from playing. First team League of Ireland. I thought I was going to go over and drop down a level. When you hear college, that's, I suppose, your initial thoughts, just based on college football over here. But that definitely wasn't the case. If anything, it was going up a notch, and the coach made it clear to me that was going to be the case, because Young Harris are a top end D2 team every year. And physically, I suppose I did struggle with that side of the game. And that's not just, strength was one, definitely, pace, power, a lot of powerful players over in America. And then, the length of the season, you're playing maybe 2-3 times a week, and probably physically I wasn't adjusting to that very well in my first season. I'd play maybe well on a Wednesday, and then I'd struggle on a Friday because I'm still sore from the game Wednesday. And you start to adjust to these things over 3 or 4 years. But as you say, like, there's loads of little different factors to take into the adjustment. It's not just case you're playing football in one country and then going to the other. There's so many different factors, including the heat and stuff like that.
Yeah, can we get into that a little bit? And as far as the scheduling goes, with being at a Division 2 school, kind of what games were you playing? Who were you playing against? Kind of what the schedule was from there, and maybe we can go into some specific advice then for people that might be in, your position 6 years ago and such.
Yeah, so we were in the Peach Belt Conference with Young Harris, which was, a conference down in the southeast, which is Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, places like that. So we'd have our conference rivals, I suppose, were Lander, North Georgia. Were up there as well, and Francis Marion, teams like that. And then as we progressed, you'd always go play teams in Florida, whether it was Lynn, Barry, PBA, teams like that. So Fife were really good the first year before they dropped to D3. They were national champions. So those were some of the games. Southeast was always really, really competitive, but I think that's why Young Harris produces so many pros every year, because you're playing competitive games all the time. And that's what Mark McKeever really stresses when you go in there. Like, it is sink or swim when you go to a top university, because, as you said, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of scholarship on the line, and you have to be successful because it's a successful program. And I suppose it's that cutting edge from the coach, and that striving for excellence every single year, which is so important. So for me, I definitely ended up at the right place.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. If anyone is trying to find, their perfect fit, what are some big picture considerations? Obviously, it depends on the kid, but looking back now, what are some things that maybe you should have looked into Thankfully it worked out for you, but might not be the case for everyone.
Yeah, I think number one, I think probably the most important, if you're going over there for football, you need to be on the same page as the coach, and those initial conversations are important, because if you're looking to go over there and play every week, but the coach has in his head that you're going to be, a squad player, you might not play that much, you probably need to look into that before you choose to go to that school. I was lucky, my goals and ambitions lined up exactly with the coach's goals and ambitions for me, and it was that kind of trust over the 4 years that probably got me to where I wanted to be. So that is number one, so important, because if a player goes to college, everything can be right, but if you're not playing football at the end of the day, that's what makes the majority of footballers most happy. So all the external factors can be there, but if you're not playing football at the end of the day, it can be tough, especially being away from home. So yeah, that's number one for me. And then the academics is another thing. If you want to end up doing a degree in education, then you're going to need to go to somewhere that offers a degree in education. Just another thing to look at, because not all schools offer all majors, so that's something to look at. Location. A lot of Irish players, a lot of players I speak to, say they have relatives here, or they have grandparents, cousins here, and maybe they want to be closer to them. So maybe that closes their options a little bit. But if they want to really refine in on location, then that's fine as well, and something that's there to be looked at. But yeah, I would say it depends what you're going over for, really. If it's the playing side of things, then you've got to make sure that your views and the coach's views line up before you go over. So it's important just to have those honest conversations, really.
Mm-hmm. On the academic side, then, what did you end up graduating in? And kind of, it's hard to compare, because I assume you didn't go to college at home, but how do you think the standard education is over here?
Yeah, I actually went to WIT for a year before I went over.
Okay, yeah. How was the comparison then?
It was a lot harder, to be completely honest, in WIT. I think it might have just been the way the academic system is set up in Ireland. I done sport and rec in WIT, and I go to class every day or whatever, and you go to class for the whole semester, 3-4 months, and then you got one exam at the end. And I don't think that's the right way of doing it, to be completely honest. Like, it's almost a memory test. You're regurgitating 3-4 months worth of information, and
yeah.
I done all right. I passed everything, but I didn't have enough interest to probably even get a degree, whether it was over 3-4 years. I just didn't like that system. Then when I went to the States, it's all continuous assessment. You're in a class of 30 lads, or 30 people, should I say. So you're in a class, and the teachers personally, the professors personally, and you're tested maybe once every week or two, and it's chapter based, so it's not just one big exam, pass or fail. It's a lot more achievable to get a degree and learn as you go along, and I really do think the American system is the way to go in terms of college education, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm with you on that. My sister was in college in WIT at the same time I was in college here, and yeah, she was a little frustrated with the format that they had. But so did you have a full 4 years then at Young Harris, and kind of what was your transition out of college like then? I've been kind of following a little bit from a distance as such. One of my former teammates and you played together at Tormenta, but what was that transition out of college? Was it easy for you, or was that an adjustment period again?
Yeah, it was. I had the full 4 seasons at Young Harris. So I went in August 2015, graduated in December 2018. So yeah, I had a very good senior season as it was, and then I signed for Tormenta in January. Really good club, really good people there, and I really enjoyed my time there. It was, I suppose, the biggest transition for me was going from being the captain at Young Harris and being one of the main men, and to going to Tormenta, where it's 21, 22 pros in the squad, and I didn't have that status anymore. And I would have liked to think, because I knew what I was getting myself into, I would have liked to think that it didn't affect me. But I suppose looking back, I probably did struggle with that transition a little bit. It's something that you probably know is coming, but maybe subconsciously you do let it affect you a bit. So it was kind of, over my 2 years at Tormenta, I was kind of in and out of the team, and it was different than Young Harris, where I was, playing every game and starting every game. So, that took a little bit of getting used to. So that's probably the biggest difference in the transition there was just, how going from being one of the main men at Young Harris to being, just another, I suppose, member of the squad at Tormenta in playing terms. So yeah, that was the transition there. But I really, really enjoyed my time at Tormenta, and the group of lads there were just unbelievable, and the staff there and owners especially were unbelievable. And I'm glad to say that I made friends for life at Tormenta, because it was a really, really good experience, and a really good place to start your pro career as well.
Oh, that's excellent to hear. I think Tormenta is one of the newer clubs in USL as well, and it's one of the, I think, founding members of the new USL League. Is that right?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I think they were the founding member of USL League One, and I wasn't surprised with that, because I played USL League Two there for 2 summers when I was in college, and it was already such a professional setup. So to be completely honest, there wasn't much difference when we went pro, because it was always run really professionally. So it was great things coming for that club, and the stadium is being built, and I have no doubt that it's going to be extremely successful over the next 5, 10, 20 years.
That's fantastic. No, that's good stuff. What would you say, again, putting you on the spot here a little bit, what was the standard like overall? Is it a little hit or miss game to game, or is every game competitive? If you're looking at, it's hard to say with League of Ireland now. I know you just got started, but what's the comparison there as such?
Yeah, it's different in terms of playing styles, especially. It's USL League One. It's hard. It's hard to. I don't really know how to put it, but a lot more teams play out for the back is one. I've noticed in League of Ireland games that there's always somebody pressing. There's always pressure on the ball. It's probably just not possible in America, because you can't sustain a high press for 90 minutes in that heat. So you probably do have a bit more time on the ball in the USL in America, and it's a lot more direct in Ireland, which is how it's always been, to be completely honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't go as far as saying I prefer one or the other. They're just different, and it's hard. It's also hard to say like which one suits me better. But I enjoyed my time in the USL, and now that I'm back in the League of Ireland, I kind of I need to adapt to the change of style and kind of do as well as I can with it. But I am really enjoying my time at Galway right now, and we're looking forward to the start of the season here as well. So look, they're exciting times, to be fair.
That's excellent. Oh, good stuff. Obviously, you're from Wexford yourself, but you ended up at Galway United this year in the League of Ireland First Division. How was pre-season for that, or was there an adjustment with uncertainty with COVID? And I know we're a couple of games in now, so it seems to be playing out okay.
Yeah, I mean, we were meant to. So I came home in November, signed for Galway at the end of November, and then we were meant to get back the 4th of January. So that was our report date to Galway and start pre-season. Then we get on a Zoom call at the end of December, and we're told we're not back until the 1st of February because the league has been pushed back a month. So I suppose that's tough to take when you've got a date circled, and then you're doing more running on your own for a month, which nobody really likes. But yeah, thankfully, we got in the 1st of February, and everything's been going fine so far. And we've obviously got a COVID officer that looks after the rules and regulations, and we take care of that side of things as well. So I think when it's it is a job, so there's people's livelihoods on the line, and that's I suppose why we do take such good care, because we want to play games and get on with the season, because ultimately that is what we want to do and what makes us happiest at the end of the day as well.
Absolutely. Hopefully, you can get you back in the Premier Division as well. I know it's a main goal this year, of course.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
just along with football as well, I suppose on the personal side for you, recently working with a company for recruiting services for international students, primarily, I would assume, right, Irish kids.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
can you talk us through who you're working for and kind of how that came about for you and what the big picture goals are?
Yeah, so I came on board with Stephen Murray at the start of the year. And Stephen Murray has been essentially the pass for soccer man here in Ireland for 10 years now. He's in my opinion the most reputable consultant in Ireland. And I actually met Stephen in Chicago in 2018. He was over at the convention. I was there as well, and I met him through my college coach, and we kind of just got chatting about what he's doing. My plans was I ever going to come back to Ireland and stuff, and because he went the college route as well, played in college in America, played professionally in America, he's coached professionally, so he was another contact I made, and I suppose I've kind of been annoying him for the last 2 years to get me involved in some capacity, because from speaking to him, I really enjoyed the way he done things. His values line up with mine in terms of honesty and giving kids the best platform, and not, to be honest, just being in it for the right reasons. I think it's so vitally important that the two of us are working together, and both of us have come through the college route so we can give first-hand experience, and both of us have made that transition to the pros as well, which is vital experience for any player going over. So got him. I came home in November, and we had another chat, and we said, why not let's give it a shot. And I've been working with him since the start here now, and I love it. And I think over time we can be really successful together, because as I said, we're in it for the right reasons, which is so important, because you'll find out in this industry that not everybody is in it for the right reasons. So the fact that I can play full time with Galway, and part time I can help players achieve their goals and dreams, and essentially live out the opportunity that I got to live out is something that's really exciting. And I'm glad I can provide first hand experience, because if it wasn't something I had done or something that I didn't enjoy, then I mightn't have much to say, but I can confidently say it's the best decision any young player will ever make. And that's not just on the field, that's for their life in general as well, because it is such a life-changing experience and opens up so many doors for them.
Yeah, I think the insight is key. It's hard to look up on Google top tips for college in America, or something like that. You don't know what you're reading or who's writing it. But if there is a kid that's in this position right now, it's March, and they want to get to America by August, obviously we'd recommend they reach out to you or pass forward. But what are some other steps that they can take as far as maybe preparing for fitness tests or SATs, things like that as well?
Yeah, so the important thing now is essentially you getting together. Highlight footage is obviously key. At this point, getting together highlight footage, academics, whether it be leaving cert results or college transcripts, depending on whether they're going over after the leaving cert or going over after transferring from maybe a year or two in college, or else going over after their degree to pursue a master's. There's so many options there. That's another really good thing about it. In terms of the SAT, there is SAT practice tests they can take, and they're obviously going to be taking the test later in the year if they are going over. And then in terms of preparing for fitness tests, I think it is a case of getting advice from someone that knows what they're talking about. Obviously, you're about to open up your own gym, and a lot about that side of it. So I think it's important to just get in touch with somebody that knows, because I think that's probably one of my regrets when I was 17, 18. I was I only started gym when I was 17, 18. I know a lot of the players that go to America, they've been in the gym since they're 14, 15.
Yeah, a whole
Um,
different culture. All right.
yeah, I never really wanted to ask the right people for help, and getting help of the right people is such an underrated skill. You can ask so many people from help, but getting help of the right people is vital. So just on that side of things, and I think that's where the experience you spoke of myself and Stephen who have done it. It's vital that a consultant knows that side of it as well, and it's not just the administration side of things of crossing the T's and dotting the I's in terms of paperwork and stuff like that. It's vital that I can tell players how to prepare physically as well, or I can lead them to the right direction in terms of where to get programs to properly prepare. So yeah, that's another advantage of someone that's been through the route becoming a consultant, I suppose.
No, that's great advice. And then just last question, kind of going off of that, have you noticed an increase or decrease in how many kids are looking at America with COVID and other considerations as far as in person or online school, that might not be for them?
Yeah, no, I think just in terms of educating people on the route, I think it is becoming more popular. And I think it really is a ripple effect. If let's say if one player from Limerick decides to go, then his mates all of a sudden see how well he's doing and how well he's getting on out there, and then he or she might decide to go as well. And I think it really is that ripple effect, because when I would have went in 2015, I wouldn't have known anyone that went before. Whereas now social media is such a big thing. You can see, so many players that have gone before you, and it's not hard to see how good it can possibly be when there's players that have on social media the sunshine every single day, or the top class gym facilities or the top class training facilities. It's just, for me, it's a no-brainer to go get involved if you're wanting to play full-time football and pursue a degree. So I think it's becoming more popular, and it's only going to keep going that way, because as I say, that ripple effect, the more players that go, then the more players that want to go.
Yeah, makes sense. Mikey, it's been a great episode. I appreciate you coming on today. I know you're kept busy and you're in season at the moment, so I just want to wish you all the best with that.
Kev, thanks a million. It's my pleasure, honestly.
Good stuff. Thank you.